on somebody who's spoken in the past, and certainly this was the case on Mr. Robot, where you felt it's important to sort of find, draw from yourself and your own sort of experiences with your characters. I am curious, when you came to Homecoming, this was somebody else's story as a podcast.
Right.
What are the pieces, do you need to then turn around and find the pieces of you and your story in it to tell a better story? Are there pieces of the sort of PTSD experience that you find a way to relate to? What's that process?
I think that's mostly about theme, right? Or mostly about what you're trying to say in general. If that connects with some worldview that you have. And in this case, I do think there is this like mistrust with the world and reality and things around you that's going on that for whatever reason resonates with me. And that's the thing that I latched onto with Homecoming. But I try not to impose too much on it. I really wanted Eli and Micah, the writers of the podcast, to be the writers on the show and to really retain the spirit of what I loved when I listened to it. I did not want to start putting in my stuff and contaminating, because I think that's just going to end up compromising something that I thought was really special to begin with. So I just wanted to draw out what did resonate from when I listened to the podcast initially. And I try not to psychoanalyze it a lot, like I do, it was a weird thing, like after I listened to Homecoming and I jumped on board, it was after that I started to realize, oh, there's an evil corporation. People are paranoid. I mean, it really was that. But I didn't want to go down into the weeds too much, because then I felt like I would overthink it and start to bring out more of it than I should. Yeah. When Mr. Robot, when we were going into the 4th season, I always had an end game for the series. So we went into the writer's room, and I put up the last 2 episodes, because I always knew what the last 2 episodes were. I put it up on the board, and I said, here's where we are from end of season 3. How many more episodes are there without treading water? I've always said between 4 and 5, but, everyone thought, we definitely have 2 more seasons left. And it wasn't, no, it was basically one last season. So I went to the network, and everybody was sort of like, no, this can't be the last season. And we kept talking about, and there was a lot of anxiety of like, am I really ending? I mean, nobody wants it to end right now, and the cast didn't want it to end, the network. Then you start asking yourself, well, this isn't the only story I can tell. I've got like 5 million other ideas. When you start playing the game of career and thinking about 5-year plan or whatever, I just think, what does that have to do with the story that you're telling? It should have nothing to do with it. And of course, there's the money, and you're looking at that, and you're doing this a whole other season, a whole other 10 episodes, residuals, and all this other stuff. And you're just like, well, you just keep going. I mean, you can understand why shows go on and on and on. I mean, what did Law and Order just hit? What?
I don't even know. What's the film or TV show that made you want to do this for a living?
So, growing up, my parents were not big movie folks. They didn't want to take me to the movies because it cost too much. So I was just watching movies at home. And the movies that I did watch home, and I don't know how I got these movies, but I remember French Connection being like the one I watched obsessively. And I was like watching bad slasher horror films. And I kept hearing about this movie coming out called E.T. And it was like, oh my God, everyone was going ape shit. I mean, everybody in school was talking about it. So I convinced my parents to finally let me go into the movies. And, they did it. And I was 5. They didn't go with me. They bought me the ticket. I walked in. And I watched it, and I was really bored. I was bored. I was not a fan. I was like, what is this? I'm not excited.
You saw it,
super boring.
You saw it
was like
on
in his
video,
room the whole
on
time.
movies?
And frogs. And,
You saw it in the movies or video?
and no, in the theater.
Wow.
I just was like, where's all the fun? Like, it was just like, they were playing dress up and everything. I don't know. I just I didn't like.
You had a different expectation.
I had a different. I was like, it's a movie about aliens. I thought. I was used to French Connection. So I remember walking out thinking, I can do better than that.
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
So I was a little shit. That's how it started. I was a little 5-year-old shit. Hi, I'm Sam Esmail.
I'm Marty Noxon.
Hi, I'm Stephen Canals.
I'm Sarah Gamble.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable.
The Hollywood Reporter Roundtable.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.